Hello and welcome to Matric Second Chance. This is English First Additional Language. I'm Janet.
And I'm Tandega.
And we are your English teachers, and this is our wrap up.
So let's wrap this up and take a look at. So what we're going to do now is look through the different modules. What is happening? With module 1, you get preparation for paper 1, and that is followed by the trial past papers. Same with module 2. Preparing for paper 2, and then you get your trial past papers. Module 3 as well, you're preparing for paper 3, which is then followed by your trial past papers. You get, at the end of that, there's your summative diagnostic test, which is basically areas for revision. It highlights the areas for revision for you when you get to see your feedback. And then it's the final examination.
Yeah.
So what you need to take to the final examination, you must have 4 blue pens, and we all know that sometimes when you only have one, in fact most times, it stops working. So you need to be prepared for anything. So 4 is really a safe number of pens to have. Have some pencils, an eraser, a ruler, as well as a sharpener. No cell phones. You do not need your cell phone during the exam. You have 10 minutes reading time. And let's now take a look at paper 1. So this question paper consists of 3 sections. Section A is your comprehension for 30 marks. Section B is your summary for 10 marks. And lastly, you have section C, which is your language section for 40 marks. So this is clearly your biggest section in the paper. You must answer all the questions, read all instructions carefully, and start each section on a new page. These instructions that we're going through now are instructions that you will see on your paper, and you've probably seen them already. But we're reading through it because it's important for you to also read through it and understand, as well as follow the instructions, most importantly. Okay. Now, you must use the following time frames as a guideline. Spend about 50 minutes on section A, 30 minutes on section B, and 40 minutes on section C.
Right, with paper 2, I said that you should really look at the following instructions, and they tell you there, you're going to get this really fat paper. You cannot read through the whole paper. So they give you a table of contents. So it'll say the table of contents is on the next page. Turn to the table of contents. And let's say you've done My Children, My Africa, and the poetry. You look at those sections, you find the page number, and you go to that. So it's really important that you consult that table of contents, you mark the numbers of the questions that you've got to study, and that what you have studied and you've got to answer, and you read just those questions. So there are 4 sections. There they are, novel, drama, short stories, and poetry, 35 marks each. And you've got to answer questions from 2 sections. So 1 from novel or drama or short stories or poetry. So you've got to do 2 genres. So let's look at the novel. There'll be 2 novels. Don't answer on the novel you haven't studied. There'll be 2 dramas. Don't answer on the drama you haven't studied. But short stories, 2 short stories. Poems, 2 poems. And you have to answer on both of them. Then there's a checklist. Please look at the checklist, tick it off when you've done it. Read the instructions carefully at the beginning of each section. Then numbering. I don't think we mentioned it for paper 1, but please don't start your own numbering system. You number it exactly as it's numbered. So if it says things like, give 2 reasons, don't go 1, 2. Just give a reason and give a reason. If you want to say the first reason is, the second reason is, you can do that. But very often students use little Roman numerals, you know, the little I's. And don't start your own numbering system. And then each section on a new page, that's just to help the markers. One person will be marking the poetry and one person will be marking the short stories. It means that the marker can find the beginning of the section easily. So don't start and do like 1 question on the poetry down here at the bottom of the page, and then the marker thinks you've begun at the top of the next page and misses it, you know? And then it's about an hour on each section.
Now let's take a look at paper 3. Paper 3 consists of 3 sections. You have your essay for 50 marks in section A, Section B is your longer transactional text for 30 marks. And lastly, Section C, your shorter transactional text for 20 marks. Now, this paper, it's important to note that it's got 100 marks. And this is the biggest paper, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you really need to pay attention here. Answer one question from each section. This is very important. At the end of paper 3, you only will have written 3 texts, okay guys? So you only choose one per section. It's very important to remember that, otherwise you've wasted time and probably some valuable marks. Write in the language which you are being assessed, so you must write in English. Start each section on a new page. It's not a good idea to squash everything onto one page, guys. So make sure that things are spaced out. It makes it easier for the marker to follow as well. You must plan. Planning is very important. So you can use a mind map, diagram, flowcharts, or keywords. Edit and proofread your work. The plan must appear before each section. Now, there's this thing where people like to plan after writing the final copy. That's not very effective, guys. So you must make sure that you plan first before you write your final copy. You will see that it does make a difference in your writing. And the more you practice your writing, the more you will actually understand the importance of planning first. All planning must be carefully indicated as such. It is advisable to just draw a line through all your planning so that we don't mark your planning instead of your final copy. You're strongly advised to spend approximately 80 minutes on section A, 40 minutes on section B, and 30 minutes on section C. These guidelines are there for you because sometimes people run out of time. So if you really if you use the guideline, it'll help you to make sure that you've covered each section by the end of the paper. Number the answers correctly according to the numbering system. Very important. Do not create your own numbering system, guys. Give each response a suitable title or heading. Do not consider the title or heading when doing your word count. So it's not part of the word count. And lastly, and most importantly, write neatly and legibly. We do not want to be deciphering handwritings. It needs to be very clear for the marker and for them to understand and follow.
So it's important to go through those instructions again, work through the papers with us, and I'm sure you'll feel confident when you're in that final paper.
Yes.
So, yeah, good luck. Go well, write well.
Exactly.
And from us,
It's goodbye.
bye.